I am ready now.
Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
And what can we expect?
Surprises!
Engineered by Jay Timko and produced by Eric Beatty. And without further delay, it's showtime! Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Hey everybody! Welcome to a Monday edition of the Detroit Cast. Your ears are not failing you. This is Jay doing the intro of the show that you usually hear our buddy Mike Walters on. Mike had a family emergency to attend to. He had to blow out of here.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm right here. It's me. It's Mike.
Beth is here with us.
I don't look like Mike?
You do not look like Mike. In fact, I'm sitting in the driver's seat today, and
Beth
is sitting over in my old seat. So Eric, essentially...
I got shotgun.
Got passed over.
Eric is still in the baby seat in the back seat.
13 years, so I don't even get the lead, and I don't even get the co-host position. I don't move. The lead guy leaves.
Yeah,
hey, Eric, I'm prettier than you and have boobs.
She is, and she does.
It's true.
Yeah, and I got 2 promotions over you, so...
Ooh,
sorry,
zinger.
buddy.
I don't know. Jay sucks dick, though. So.
What?
Oh, wait, what?
What? Anyway, here we are with the keys to the car. We had a quick meeting before Mike had to run out, and he gave us his blessing to move on with the show today, which is cool. The idea that he'd again give us kind of the keys, and fuck yeah, we're gonna drive this fucker. Are you kidding me? Not gonna turn that down. Hey Jay, you want to drive my Ferrari? Yes, I do. We'll just see if we can not crash it into a ditch here. Big show, though. Big show.
Huge show.
We've got in front of us here on a Monday. We've got, unfortunately, a lot of tragic stuff that happened late last week and into the weekend, of course, with a couple things happening on local jogging and walking trails, which are just incredibly awful. Yeah. In better news, we've got some exciting stuff happening downtown Detroit that we've obviously touched on before, but things that are really getting going that are of huge interest. Got a couple things in sports, including the Hall of Fame ballot coming out that's fun to talk about. And we might want to touch on the weirdness of Comic-Con as well. But before we get into that, the big international story is the Israel-Hamas conflict, which is really becoming a problem. This back and forth. Again, this is one of those stories Mike and I always cringe with, because we are recording this the night before the posting on Monday, and there are these stories that just can change on a dime. So what we know now is both sides have essentially agreed to a 24-hour truce, a humanitarian truce, which means
keep to that.
Exactly. and if you look at the history of these two sides, it's pretty tenuous. They unfortunately just keep lobbing missiles at each other and so forth. But even this latest one that Hamas said, hey, give us a 24-hour truce, so we can pull back, collect our dead. They're really playing up the number of dead and so forth, and getting those pictures out there. You probably, many of you have seen those online. It's just unbelievable to see all the little kids that are collateral damage to this stuff. And so they're asking for this time to pull back and, get their wounded and dead out of the way. But at the same time, they're launching stuff, according to Israel. So I
don't get those situations. It's like I hear stories like this, and I'm in 4th grade history class again, and it doesn't, I don't understand it.
It never ends, right?
Yeah, and it's like, when did it start, and why did it start, and what's the fighting about again, and who did what, and then somebody else did something else. It's never ending, and I just don't understand, why does it start?
Yeah, well, the Middle East from the dawn of man, right, has been this hornet's nest, and
it's like one of those, when you said before, it all depends on when you're born and where you're born, and we're all lucky to have freedom of religion in the United States, and we're not killing each other over it.
I was at a bonfire on Friday.
A bonfire or a bonfire?
Bonfire on Friday. Whatever.
We lit bombs on fire. Jeez, man, come on. Just speak.
I was drinking some beers or whatever, and I was listening to some music. And the point is, I just had what she just said there was the same. I was literally just talking to somebody, and I just you just don't realize sometimes. It's hard because you're in your daily life. We don't think about it. You just go through your life. You know things you have to do. You're like, I got to go to work, whatever. But you just don't realize how crazy it is. How by nothing I did by anything that I did, that I got lucky enough to be born here and not be born in Iraq or Africa, and it's just crazy.
Exactly. If you look at the number of people worldwide, the chances of you landing here in this day and age, so slim.
There's only a few real countries. I mean, I'm not only a few, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like Canada, England, Australia. I mean,
is Canada a real country?
Well, if you call it a country.
If
we're considering Canada as a country for this purposes. We have a lot of Canada listeners. So
I know.
That was Jay that said that.
For purposes of country.
but you know what I literally was just having that talk with somebody on Friday. We're just like, it's just like sometimes you really just gotta sit here and just be like, just think, God, or whatever you believe in, I guess.
Seriously, we're blessed, and it gives you perspective when you see these stories. Walter says it all the time, right? It's like, is this the same world? We're seeing this story on the other. Eric's pointing
tornado sirens are going off. Okay, can we please tell a story?
Yes, Eric is freaking out like a dog would with a tornado siren going on.
He doesn't know what to do when the tornado siren goes off and it's not a test. He was on his way here, and he literally called his mom. Mom, the tornado siren is going off. Do I come home? Do I continue on my journey? Do I take cover in a ditch by the side of the highway? Do I go to Meyer and take cover?
Dude, tornadoes are a big deal. I don't know. I've never heard it. This is the first in my life, now twice. You guys have now been here for the second time in my life that I've heard a tornado siren that was not a test. And I just didn't know what to do. I'm sitting in my car. Should I just get on the highway? Oh, yep, there might be a tornado coming. Oh, well.
So, Eric, here Izzy's doing better than you are in the tornado siren going off. Nice and calm, just singing along.
Dude, you're not worried. It's going on right now. You're not a little worried?
Nope.
Okay.
I think we need to get Eric a thunder shirt.
What's that?
It's one of those. It's like a compression shirt for dogs. It's supposed to help with anxiety.
There's not one that compresses enough to help with that.
Like a big hug, like a big perpetual hug. But he doesn't really like hugs.
I do not like hugs. There's. I don't like anything literally hugs are very emotional to me, and I don't like emotional stuff. But no, I don't think there's a compression shirt tight enough that could get the anxiety out of my life. But anyway, I didn't mean to bring this into that. I just heard the tornado siren going on.
No, that's okay. And yeah, I mean, we've made it with the power so far. We'll see how this goes. But on my way here, man, it was a bad storm. So we're minute by minute. Kind of sounds
like those the bomb sirens or whatever that they put off.
Exactly, and that's back to our Israel story with the crap being lobbed back and forth.
What a segue by Beth. Got 13. I've been in 13 years, and Beth just walks in, throws a segue in.
That's what a college education will do for you.
I have a 2-year degree from OCC.
Anyway. Oh boy. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Beth, it's been forever, and the tough thing is Israel is such a strong ally of ours. It's really our only strong ally in the Middle East, so it's important that we keep with them. And at the same time, there's a lot of death and destruction going on. Of these Palestinians that are in this Gaza area are just being pummeled by a way stronger Israeli military. So it's a tough situation. John Kerry, our Secretary of State, got involved and has been trying to talk and negotiate a ceasefire, but we'll see. Like you mentioned, it's one of these things going on forever. I mean, Israel's been in control of this area since 1967, and it seems like every single year they're going back and forth fighting. So we'll see. But sticking with a little bit of bad news, unfortunately, but more locally, my God, a couple of these things that happened on the local jogging or walking trails in the last few days. Well, this first one,
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, this first one in Armada, body of a 14-year-old girl, April Millsap, was found near a bike trail on Thursday, and since then everything has changed in the village. Yesterday it was just a spirit of disbelief, said Armada School Superintendent Michael Musari. Today it's reality. Our hearts are broken. This young girl walking her dog, apparently, as she had pretty regularly, would walk her border collie and down this area, this trail, and for about 30 minutes. And unfortunately, joggers discovered her body on Thursday. Interesting. And led them over there. Police said there was no signs of sexual assault, which is interesting.
Yeah, because who's going to target a 14-year-old girl?
Exactly.
Just kill her to kill her? Not
No,
that you have
that's-
to have a reason to kill somebody, but you would think somebody that young, there would be like some kind of instigation, a sexual assault, and then you kill her, or it's a small town. Did she see something or know something about somebody? Or
Right, there's
Probably
an
not.
innocence to a 14-year-old
Yeah.
girl that you wouldn't assign to, say, a 44-year-old. You go, well, what could that person have been involved in, gambling, whatever.
Mhm.
But she's just a young girl, and if there is no sexual assault, then you sort of do have to say, what is this, a serial killer? Is this just a thrill kill?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, in
Yeah.
a small town like that.
Where is Armada anyway?
I
I
believe
just looked it up.
isn't it over here,
Ooh.
like kind of thumbish?
Good job.
It's right by no, it's
Imlay
yes,
City?
it's Amish, but it's
Okay.
by Emily City.
Yeah.
Yeah, so joggers encountered the girl's dog. They thought the dog was trying to attack them, said Lieutenant Michael Shaw of Michigan State Police. The dog kept coming up and going back to the body. Just, heartbreaking. Apparently, they released a sketch of a possible suspect. Looks to be a white male, sandy brown hair, reddish hair.
In a van or something.
Yeah, they
About
had
it.
interested in a gray van, I think like a contractor type van.
Yeah.
But man, just scary stuff.
Yeah,
And-
that's the kind of stuff. It's like,
When they said
whenever I go out running or walking, and
Yeah.
my family up north is like, take mace with you, and I'm like, we're in the middle of the woods. Like, what do I need mace for? I'm like, there's not going to be a skunk that comes after me that I need to mace or something.
They'll have a war, like mace versus
right,
skunk.
mace
yeah.
versus skunk.
Jay's a
right,
runner.
but
Actually, it's funny
people
because
are crazy everywhere. I guess.
we're all runners. Well, I don't know if you're a runner, but
Mhm.
you're into shape stuff or whatever. And Jay's a runner, and it's funny because I do this. I get with my mom all the time. I was like, oh, I'm going running, and it's like she's always like, well, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going running. What are you gonna? And sometimes I do really think that you just. In reality, sometimes I get mad at her, but it's like it's a good point. You never know.
Right.
I told Jay one time I was running on a dirt road, and out of nowhere, like a pack of 3 wild dogs came up on me.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't know technically if they were wild, but they must have been. Like teeth growing, they were starting to pack up on
Yeah,
me.
anytime you get them in multiples,
Right.
it can be way worse than.
Well, and they started packing up on me, and I swear to God, I didn't know what to do. Like my only thought process was maybe kick 1 or 2 of them if I can, and somehow get away. And like in this case, luckily a car ended up randomly driving down this dirt road, seeing it and kind of helped the situation. But it just goes to show you, I mean, really, you never know. Like you say, you go in the woods. How do you know?
Yeah, and you told me that story about the dogs about a week ago, and
Yeah.
I have to admit, I think I even called you a pussy at that point. Like,
Yeah,
dogs. What are you gonna do? Well, guess what, dude?
Yeah.
Dog mauling. Up
Shit, no
in
way.
Lapeer. Yeah, two dogs.
You got that one, Eric.
Nice segue here. 13 years.
You know what? I didn't even know it was coming up. That's how good I am.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut. My man. What are you playing now, dude? All right, I take that back.
Oh, that was me.
You're worthless.
That was me. Sorry, that was my computer.
You lost any goodwill, any
He got
credit
so
that you broke
excited
up.
about doing something right, his hand started flailing, buttons
No,
got
I'm
pushed.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, you walked us right into the next story, which is another unfortunate event on a jogging trail or running whatever trail in Lapeer, where Craig Sistma, 46, died Wednesday evening after he was attacked by a pair of cane corsos.
Cane Corso.
Cane corsos.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's an Italian breed.
It's an exotic breed of.
Dude.
Didn't we have a young baby ripped out of the hands of an uncle holding it
Yes.
maybe a month ago by a
Yes.
cane corso?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't
'cause
remember the dog, but the
I remember-
story was 100%.
I remember a
Yeah.
listener writing in about the
Mhm.
breed saying, yeah, man, these are like,
Mhm.
see them just rip pigs apart if you don't get them off of them.
I think they're also called Dogo Argentino, unless I'm thinking of a different breed. But there is an Italian breed, a very large Italian breed of dog that has two different names. But yeah, those ones are pretty
Vicious.
And, yeah, they're like you said, they were bred to hunt wild boar.
Yeah. 90 to 110 pounds each.
Mhm.
You've got 2 of them. This guy's
Big
jogging along.
boys. Yeah.
Along a quiet dirt road in Metamora Township, just north of Oakland County line. He was jogging, doing what everybody else does out there, running and riding bikes, said the Metamora police officer, Sean Leathers. Sistma, a divorced father of 3, was unconscious and undergoing CPR when Leathers arrived. He died of his injuries at a local hospital.
See, it can happen, man. Look
I
at
thought
that.
I heard that was not the first time that those
Yes.
dogs bit, though.
Exactly. April Smith of Oxford chimed in to the Freep, I think it was, and said that she was attacked by one of them in 2012. She submitted a picture, looked pretty nasty puncture wound to the back of her leg. And she actually sued and said that the owners had no fence around their house, and one of the stipulations in the settlement was for them to put a fence up, which didn't happen, right?
Yeah. That's sad. That, like, it's frustrating, like, for animals, like, you know, I just...
Oh, we all know if you're friends with you on Facebook. We know.
But, like, when you have an owner that knows, like that, like, these are the parameters of the animal, like, they obviously have a history, like, you need to take certain steps. Like, I had a neighbor who had 2 rescue dogs, and I love that they were rescues. The first time I, like, mentioned to the neighbor, oh, I'd love to meet your dogs, like, maybe that way they'll get to know me and stop barking at me every time I come outside. And her response was, oh, well, the one is okay, but the other one, meh. I'm like, all right. So she didn't even want me to meet him. Like, okay, fine, whatever. They were behind a fence and made me uncomfortable enough. But the husband would quote unquote walk them off leash. Like, he would ride his bike and let the dogs run, or he would walk and let the dogs just, you know. And they had I have it for Izzy, which I barely have to use, a little buzzer thing. So you have your handheld command electronic shock thing, but the one was known to nip neighbors and bite other neighbors and attack their small dogs. Like, it happens once. Okay, I get it. It's an animal, and you know, even Izzy, I'm always watching her because she's still a dog. She's still going to meet a dog that she doesn't like, and she's going to growl or step back from it, and, you know, and then it's my responsibility as an owner to take control of the situation.
Right.
My dog is never off leash unless I'm in the middle of the woods somewhere and nobody else is around.
Yeah, and I mean, you're a responsible owner, and owners have got to understand, especially a guy who was sued before, you know. It's like there is strict liability in Michigan for dog bites, civil liability. Really? This dude could end up going to jail for a manslaughter charge.
As he should.
Civil liability, you've got, if Izzy's on your own property, someone comes and they're not provoking the dog or anything, and Izzy bites that person, the only question in court is, what were the damages? It's not liability anymore. It's strict liability in Michigan. It's really, really tough against dog owners, and so it puts a real serious responsibility on them. And if they're not, responsible enough to realize that and take care of it, it's like a loaded gun, these dogs, you know. Some of these breeds are unbelievably strong and as you say, bred, you know, to do what they do. And I am not a dog guy, I think, as I've said before, and so to me it's a real...
Yeah, Jay doesn't even really like Izzy.
Izzy's fine. Izzy's fine. After she sniffs my nuts, sure, whatever. No, I just, to me it's just a no-brainer. Like, this is infuriating. This could have been me, you know, just jogging along. And are you kidding me? 2 dogs killed this man? Yeah. Killed him.
Yeah.
You know,
we're not talking about just another bite. We're talking about... Yeah.
We're not talking about a bite. We're talking about
a life.
A life. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. So I don't know what you do other than, you know, just put these things out in the media and hopefully people realize that there's a real responsibility attached.
And it's unfortunate too, because it makes me think about all situations where everybody gives certain breeds a bad name.
Right.
You know, like pit bulls. I've known some pit bulls sweet as pie, but if you don't raise your dog right, or if you rescue it and you don't know where it comes from, granted, fine, but take those steps to be responsible about it. And it's not, you know, worth something happening to somebody else.
Right.
You know, it's not that all the Cane Corsos in the world are horrible dogs, but you have a known case that they've already bitten.
Yeah. So
why are these dogs running free?
Yep.
And in that case, I totally agree that the owners should go to jail. Yeah. No, they allowed somebody to die because they didn't control their situation.
Yeah, the 911 call, I think, was released recently, and I think the guy who actually got there first, the first witness, actually tried shooting the dogs, and I think that was expressed in the call. But I mean, just what an unbelievable thing to come upon. Yeah. Like you said, Eric, when you told me, oh, this pack of dogs, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Where do we live?
Yeah, but no, for real though. Like, I mean, when I look back on it, joking aside, and now that you hear a story like this and you see that obviously, and these are not even wild dogs. Even though they're wild, they were owned by somebody. And I'm not saying the ones I did weren't, but they were definitely in 3, and they were like, it was like a pack, dude. And honest to God, in reality, I mean, it's one of those things, like, so many things in life you just don't once it happens, even if it's a bad situation, you get through it. You don't even want to think about it because it's what it is.
Yeah.
But in reality, if that car doesn't come by, they were fucking absolutely 1, 2, 3.
Could you tell what kind they were?
No, and I don't really know dogs. I love pets, but I don't really know types of dogs.
Yeah.
But like they were absolutely, I was here and like it was like that, like I said, packing up 1, 2, 3, and their teeth and they doing. I mean, their teeth were showing. I mean, it was the point where they were doing the teeth showing, growling. And the bottom line is that in reality, if that car doesn't come, I'm not saying I would necessarily have died. I could have, you never know. I could have, kicked them and maybe, but dogs are. There's a good chance it definitely could have happened though.
Yeah. Once they get you down, right?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. If
All they need to do is hit one good artery.
Right.
That one special one.
Right.
That one special artery. Hey, Timco's got the 911 call. Let's check it out. It's kind of long, but let's at least get a flavor for it.
Superior County 911. What is your emergency?
I'm being attacked by a couple of dogs.
Where at? Where? Okay, where? What address? Give me an address.
Hold on. I don't know the address. Hold on.
Okay.
Can't they GPS nowadays?
Listen. Take a deep breath. I can't understand you, okay? Listen to me. What address? I need an address from you. Okay, and a man was attacked by what? A dog?
Some kind of couple of days attacked him.
Okay, listen. What's your name?
Isn't that great? People try to do 911 calls and they're just so useless. That's why this is like almost 8 minutes because it's all this panic.
Take a deep breath. I can't understand anything you're saying. You're wasting time. If you don't calm down, I'm not going to be able to get help there. Okay, what is your first name?
Yes.
Okay. There's a man that was attacked by a dog, correct?
Yes. Two dogs.
Two dogs. Is he conscious?
He is conscious. He's rolling around. He's in looks like terrible pain. He's bleeding.
Rolling around in pain and he's bleeding badly. Okay, where are the dogs?
The dogs look like they ran off into some woods somewhere. So
what kind of dogs were they?
They looked to be pit bulls, but I couldn't tell.
Oh, he's blaming on the pit bulls. Well,
Right,
Dogo Argentine. Cane Corso aren't very well known breed, so.
Yeah, they look more mastiff though, don't they?
Kinda, yeah. They have a taller stature.
Oh man, hopefully.
It's horrible.
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna have my eyes out next time I'm on the trail. I've encountered turkeys. I've encountered deer.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a deer that usually you run up upon them and they obviously get scared and run away.
Yeah.
I had one stand there.
So today I did.
And I'm running towards it.
I did too,
and I'm thinking, all right, deer, you gonna leave or what? And I was probably 10 feet from this deer before he finally ran. I'm thinking, is this thing gonna attack me? Is that possible?
They've been we have moved into their territory, so they're used to us now, which sucks because they're they're not gonna run away. They're not gonna I love animals, but they shouldn't. Well, I don't know if they shouldn't be living amongst us, but my fear is that then they're less afraid when cars go by, and they're less afraid when you get some dickhead with his BB gun who's going to start shooting at it in his yard.
Right.
But.
Well, I know Walter's had a problematic deer in his yard, pissing, and wasn't it taking a shit in his yard? And he's yelling at it.
Yeah, pissing. Yeah.
Is he one of those assholes who shoot it in the ass?
I swear to God,
Before dating me, I wouldn't put it past him. But
Get out of
now
here,
he would not be allowed.
calmed him down.
Nice.
No, that's funny just because I swear to God, the first question when he told me that was just, how do deers piss? Only because, I don't know. I didn't know if they just stood there like a cow.
Right, do they lift a leg?
Do they squat? Do the girls squat?
I think he said it was squatting, right?
Yeah. It sounded like that's what it was.
Weird to see. I don't know, man. Well, on to a little better news. Some of the stuff in Detroit that's going on, which is really encouraging. We talked about these stories before, but there's a pretty neat article in the Freep yesterday, kind of talking about how Illich and Dan Gilbert have been so influential, so important to Detroit. Obviously, everybody knows that. Without those two, God, where would we be, right?
Yeah.
You look at that downtown area. The critics will say, a lot of the critics will point to, well, so what? We're talking about stadiums, and we're talking about something that really benefits the city.
I disagree, and I think that it's a part of what he's built there. Even how there's I think it's been a year now, or not more than a year, maybe 2 at the max. But there's Buffalo Wild Wings now down in like Greektown. Concert one time, but it was I was January 1st, so bowl games were on, and the place was packed with Michigan State fans. And before that, I have gone down to Detroit several times to watch even like a Tigers game when they weren't in town, like a playoff game, because me and Buddy thought, oh, we'll go to the Tigers in the area, but maybe not that place where people thought a sports bar, you know. So my point is, like, because of them building up that kind of area, it allows the Buffalo Wild Wings to come in.
Yep.
And now there's people, that's a place. People know if you go to Buffalo Wild Wings, know beer, wings, sports.
Yep.
So now it's like, oh, Michigan State's playing. I can go, if you live in that area, I'll go to Detroit, watch it at Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever. And I think that's all kind of fits into that to me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's
all about drawing in business.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, not necessarily like from the public sector of people coming to utilize retail or restaurants, but like Quicken, like people going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like tons of people from the past few years where their company has moved downtown from Troy.
Yep.
Moved headquarters from Troy to downtown, and their offices are right downtown now.
Absolutely, and Gilbert is really spearheading that. You know, he's bought up a lot of the like 60 some buildings down there that will be turned into lofts or offices for you know, different small companies, but you know, and that's the key, getting people to live down there, and not just we're driving down for the event and then driving back, but actually living there, putting their money in. And as we talked about before, the absolute key, we'll know when the city's coming back is when people start putting their families there.
Of course, obviously, that's without saying that.
Because then we'll have strong schools, we'll have a strong enough infrastructure to support retail and things that, you know, everyday needs.
Well, I don't know if I've said this on the show or not before, but you've told you before. My brother recently moved back from Las Vegas, and he moved into Midtown Detroit. Like it's a big hipster thing, and it's a lot of young people. It's not downtown Detroit, but you know, that's only 10 minutes. I mean, it's not that, you know.
Well,
and he loves it, man. I've gone on I always had even heard of Midtown, but didn't even really know what it was until my brother moved there. And I went down there with him and I've gone down there several times since then now. And he lives in one of those old houses where he turned it into like an apartment where it's kind of split up or whatever, you know, like I think it's like top level and bottom, or however they do it.
It's called a flat.
Is it? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When it's a house. Okay, well, sorry, I didn't know the lingo. But the point is, like, he loves it, man. And when I've been with him, we have not only have we had a good time, but like we've walked from his house to the bars. Like he doesn't even. You know, and you get it. You stay in certain areas, and I'm by no means. There are areas in Detroit we all know, but you know, he and friends, and now, I mean, I tell people now that he's moved down there and he loves it.
Well, I think stories like that are a function of these two. You know, Illich and Gilbert in particular.
Absolutely, and that's what. Yeah, I think that all ties in. Unquestionable.
Yeah, it's a cool article yesterday. You know, that includes. Talking about many corporate leaders have helped revitalize the city over the decades. Henry Ford II built the Renaissance Center. Peter Stroh,
I didn't know that.
Peter Stroh, a riverfront complex. Peter Carmanos Jr., the CompuWare building near Campus Martius, and Roger Penske delivered a Super Bowl, helped clean up downtown. But when the annals, when the annals of the late 20th and early 21st century downtown Detroit are written, two names will likely stand out as prominent: the Illich family and Dan Gilbert. Mogg, a longtime law professor and developmental expert at Wayne State University, called the impact unmatched in modern U.S. history. No two individuals have had more property in a major urban core owned or controlled by the two as unprecedented in the U.S. I mean, have we thought about that?
No, that's crazy.
You know,
yeah.
It really is. He compares a little bit Carnegie and Mellon in Pittsburgh, Andrew Carnegie and Andrew Mellon, but those two kind of invested more in libraries, public university, things like that, whereas this is really commerce and getting business going.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, dude, even that World Cup viewing party I went to, that was through the CompuWare, and that was originally, they paid for that. That was not a city thing. He paid for that, and it was really originally just meant for workers of CompuWare, and then anybody else. And it, like on the site, on Campus Martius' site, it just said, and anybody else that wanted to go by.
That's
but
cool.
Even that's something. I mean, that brought a lot of young people and things like that. And that's, you know, like I said, done by CompuWare, paid by CompuWare. They bought the screens, they bought the space out. And that brings young people, again, another thing to bring young people down and see, wow, there's stuff to do down here.
Yeah.
And I think, too, like, when I moved home from Europe in 2007, I thought about
you lived in Europe?
To
Wow.
Detroit.
For how long?
Right. 3 years.
Wow.
So here I'm thinking, like, I lived outside Paris. I lived in big cities.
Ooh.
But I couldn't handle Detroit. Like, I thought about moving downtown.
Right.
I'm like, oh, city, I'll stay in the city atmosphere. I'm like, scared the
Your
fucking
family's
shit
like,
out of me.
no, Beth.
I got to 9, because I moved to Ferndale, just south of 9 Mile, and I didn't want to go any further south than that. I looked at flats and apartments and no, Detroit, no, thank you. I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
So if they're building an atmosphere that also creates safety, and like you said, the biggest litmus test is going to be when some people move their families.
Oh,
there.
that's a long time off.
Well, there is that new Myers. I don't know if we ever actually talked about that or not, too, but Myers is building another one down there.
Meyer, dude.
Myers,
it's Meyer.
I know,
It's like saying Ford.
I know.
Oh.
It's not like saying Ford.
It is like saying it's the same thing.
No, it is
You
not.
put a fucking S on the end. Ford,
it's not
Meyer.
It is not.
How is that not the
Look,
same?
I get it. I said it wrong, and you're right. I get mad when I even worked there for freaking 4
Do
years.
you call it Kroger's too?
No, I
just
yes,
stop.
I do actually.
I want to hear your reasoning on why it's not the
I'm
same.
saying it's not the same as Ford's because Meyer. It's very it just comes off your mouth like Meyer. Like no one would say Ford's. No one would say I'm buying a Ford's. A lot of people say Meyer. Like Meyer's.
Oh my God. Okay.
I just don't think it's the same as Ford. I'm not saying it's not wrong. I know it's wrong.
No S on the end. Okay.
No S.
I think technically no S.
I worked there even, and I still call it Myers
You
sometimes.
fucking asswipe. George Jackson, the outgoing president and CEO of the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, said, I'd like to have about 5 more of each, referring to Ilitch and Gilbert.
Yeah.
Both are putting the redevelopment of the city on steroids. Jackson noted an important difference in developmental styles between the two camps, and this is interesting. I hadn't thought about this. Gilbert tends to act aggressively, seizing opportunities and buying dozens of buildings in a short time. The Ilitches are much more deliberate, taking years of study before moving ahead with a plan like the Arena and Entertainment District. Mm-hmm. There are other differences as well. Gilbert has chosen to preserve the iconic architecture that he buys and work within its historic framework. The Ilitch has restored the Fox Theater, but mostly have relied on clearance and new construction, which has drawn some criticism over the years. Also, Gilbert's developments have required few taxpayer subsidies, which I think is a huge difference. And,
that is a bit,
As people look at that new Red Wings arena and development, it's kind of like grown. Really,
but I don't. What's your opinion? I know you guys. I was actually doing something at the time you guys talking about this, so I didn't know what you said about it. But I agree. I get to some sense he has that money, the tax thing. But in the same hand, man, what if they just said no then and he decides to move that thing to freaking Southfield? Or not Southfield, but I mean like the Palace is.
They're in position where they have to give tax incentives.
Because I'm sorry, that being down there, man, like the Joe, how it's down there and how the Tiger Stadium down there. I mean, yes, I do like Detroit. I love going down there, but obviously I'm not living there. The big reason I go is for sporting events. Now I stick around and I go, but those are the reason a lot of people go. And if those things leave, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. Mm-hmm. But Jackson's point here is both of these guys think big, and thank God we have them both.
I got a question.
Hold on. Do you think that these things would be getting done by other people if we didn't have those two? Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Like, would the gap be filled in, the void?
I don't think
know.
so, honestly.
You would hope maybe there's some other billionaire out there who feels like they're that.
Well, not necessarily one, but just a bunch of people would seize the opportunity to start pecking away.
Well,
why is there more than going now?
Well, because these guys are taking the prime stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. Also, like, and just because I don't know as much about the Ilitch, because Ilitch, obviously, like when it comes to even a base, sports owners, great owner, yeah, all that stuff. They as committed to the city. I'm not sure.
One of his sons is the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're for the dad because he.
Right.
And then the brat
getting.
Well,
in Garden City or whatever it was and grow it into an empire. You're
gave them the right values.
It does seem like it though, doesn't it? Everything.
I'm not stupid. They're trying to make money, as these guys are. But I think.
Yeah, you could make money without going into
the
shit town Detroit. dumping a bunch of money
Which they already have
and
done.
making a huge structure. Right? Yeah, that's not. It's yeah.
What would be the incentive? They've already made money. They could clearly, if they wanted to, go somewhere else.
Yeah,
make it.
Well, one other point. Rebirth kind of is this M1 rail, which we talked about before, and this plays into what your brother's situation is.
For him, this would be awesome. Actually,
it is because that's what it's going to do. It's going to come down from the north and the new center.
It will open that part up even more so.
To span those areas that you talked about, kind of
like because from his house to Comerica, you get out in Woodward, it's 8 minutes to walk that ride to Comerica Park.
Right.
But now, like if that came in for him, he would absolutely be in that Chicago field. He would be in that field where he could just he wouldn't even need he would have a car, but it would only be for like when he came to visit the parents or something.
And the critics of this, of course, remember the People Mover.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, what? I know it's still there, but like, whatever happened to it?
I still ride
different.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I do too. I
whenever I go to a Joe Louis event, I always park in Greektown and take the People Mover to Joe Louis.
Dude, same thing. I got no problem riding that fucker. Seriously, it works.
As a Joe Louis, you could because I like to get to Greektown early. Usually, maybe gamble a little, have dinner or something, go to a game. And then, have you ever parked in Joe Louis, that official Joe Louis park thing, and leave? It's like hours.
Yeah.
Hours. Why not just go back to Greektown? The traffic's done by then.
Agreed. But
I don't think I've ridden the People Mover since 2005.
Wow. I just rode it a few weeks ago. When I went to something.
Well, it's unbelievably still going. That's what's the most shocking. Like, really,
and
this
it's
thing
called the People Mover. Like, who came up with that name? Well, we have this thing, and it's going to another spot. What do we call it?
It's pretty brutal.
When I was a kid, because my parents were never, and I was really happy about this, by the way. My parents were never shy taking me down to Detroit. I mean, we didn't we didn't walk around 8 Mile, but I mean, they took me down to Tiger games, and I went to Joe Louis things and stuff. So like when I got into high school, even there was kids that I would be like, let's go to a Tigers game. They'd be like, oh, I'm worried about the.
Yeah.
And I was like already accustomed to it. But anyway, the point is, though, the story is when I was a kid, I used to call it the pooper mover. When I was a kid.
Of course you did, right?
Because I couldn't pronounce it, I guess.
Yeah. I always envisioned like that was the name of the prototype, and they just kept it.
Someone just like,
it's the People Mover.
Yeah.
But that's what comes to mind, I think, for a lot of people. But this,
it's different because it's going up.
If they see it through, what it's going to ultimately do is bring from even the suburbs, from where you're talking about.
I was going to say, when you talked about Midtown, I thought the original plan I heard of years ago was that it was going to come all the way up Woodward.
Yes.
Into Ferndale,
Royal Oak, right, or something. Yeah.
Right now, what it's doing is it's going to go from the new center down basically into the heart of downtown.
Yeah.
And then they're going to do the next leg kind of north of there and keep moving north until, like you say, you hit the Royal Oaks. And that'd be awesome.
Oh God, yeah.
Flipping sweet.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Get on that thing in Royal Oak and go down to a Tiger game?
Dude, that would open it up so much. There's no chance. There's no way it wouldn't. That just would open it up so much.
Yeah. The state might frown on it, though. They're going to get a lot less DUIs out of it.
That's for sure.
Tickets and...
Well, it's
as a joke, but it's the funny thing is in Raleigh.
But yeah, it's no coincidence here. Roger Penske and Dan Gilbert again have invested and helped raise more than $110 million of private money for the system. So
see,
Dan
sometimes
Gilbert.
when they take money away, when people say like Illich always taking money for the thing, but then if he helps do things like that, doesn't that? I mean, that's feel like I'm not saying it balances out, but it definitely is something. He's not just taking.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they're right. Trying to raise that money and not use just public funds for it. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we're talking about a couple sports owners here with Gilbert and Illich.
All right, I'm checked out. I'll see you later.
Beth sees where I'm going. I'm going straight into a couple sports stories, incling Big Ten football. Big E.
I don't know.
Dude, fuck you. You don't like Big Ten football?
No. I don't know what's going on. No, that's not what I said. I'm a Michigan fan.
Oh, you're a Michigan slap. That's right.
I'm wearing my Michigan pajama pants under right now.
Eric just pulled his pants down in front of
Eric,
me.
It's inappropriate. Mike is not here. I feel it's incumbent upon me to defend her honor.
I am offended as a non-employee of this non-company.
Oh, shit. See, she's going to sue. Yeah, we're going to get sued now.
Uh-oh.
Fuck. By Mike's girlfriend.
Want to take my credit card debt and my parents' car from me? Oh, no.
No, Big Ten football. We've got media poll is out as of late last week, and I don't know if it's a surprise. I guess as a Spartan fan, it's maybe a little disappointing, but Ohio State has picked to win the Big Ten.
Of course, yeah.
But I think some of that's holdover. Some of it's kind of. So what we have though, which is pretty cool this year, is the two new divisions, the East and the West. It's what was it, Leaders and Legends, right?
I, for one, by the way, have never learned which one.
Oh, I know.
Which one is what?
I knew they were temporary, so I didn't either.
Right.
I'm like, don't even want. Really quickly listed.
Oh, so it's just gonna be East and West.
East and West.
That's at least that. Even though I hate the two teams coming in, I hate the fact that Rutgers and Maryland are gonna be in here. It's so. Well, we all know why it's happening. Money, and the super. How long is it going to be before there's literally only two or three?
Wait, what was that? The super.
Eric,
the
finish
super.
words, Eric.
My dad always says that to me. No, it's hard. My dad.
I know,
Eric.
I know where you were going, but maybe our listeners don't.
I know. Sometimes I just assume people know what I'm talking about. No, the super conferences.
Right.
How all these conferences are forming together. Like, when is it going to be just what 4? Eventually, they all say it. It's eventually going to be what 4 conferences.
Yeah, it's funny. You have like Big Ten and all this stuff, and you have 14 teams and shit. But here's how the media broke down the two regions at least. They said Ohio State will come in first in the East, followed by Michigan State, Michigan, Penn State, Maryland, Indiana, Rutgers. So Rutgers is just going to get hammered.
Right.
This first year at least. The West, they predict Wisconsin, who's always right there. Wisconsin's a funny program. They are always right there.
I know. They're
Iowa, Nebraska, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Purdue. What a boring ass what
were those teams
division
again?
that is.
What was those teams
Wisconsin,
again?
Iowa, Nebraska, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, and Purdue.
The only teams I interested in there was, like you said, Wisconsin, and then I always like Iowa. Oh, I was gonna say I always kind of like Iowa for some reason, but
yeah,
but most of the other, you're right, in Nebraska, I guess even.
Yeah, I'd rather be where we are than.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, not because honestly. Even if it's maybe a harder conference, I'd rather have it be. I'd rather play the good teams. I hate this idea of going to these games. It's like, what's the point if you were 10-2 but you beat up on
Appalachian State?
Dude, I remember when that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, dude, when that field goal happened.
Do you, as a Michigan fan, remember the Appalachian State game, Eric?
Do you want me to tell you what I did or no?
Go ahead.
We don't have to.
No, go ahead.
I was. That was right at the cusp when Michigan started to, kind of go to what they are now, which is not the Michigan.
Well, that was Lloyd, right?
Right,
that was like unbelievable.
And I was still in that area where you just didn't think Michigan lost games. You know what I mean? You went every year thinking it could, yeah. And so I went. He's not making this field goal or whatever, and I was going to go on a run. I remember because I had to go on a run that day. I hadn't ran yet, and I started tying my shoes. And I had the radio on, and that field goal hit, and I was like, just fucking God, whatever. And I ran down, I sprinted on my driveway to win my run, and I was yelling at myself still, like how my neighborhood works. I go on my driveway, I go off my driveway like this, and then there's like a tree line.
Such a retard.
Right, there's like a tree line here, and then there's other like houses, kind of like I have a 2-acre yard. So I know, right? My parents do.
Of course. Dick.
Right.
Dick.
On the other side, though,
you mow a 2-acre.
I mow a 2-acre lot. I do mow it. I've mowed it just this week too. But no. But the point is, I kind of went around. So there's other houses. Like I went this way to these other houses, and I was still going like, God, fucking yelling. And when I got back, my dad was like, I could hear you yelling still when you were running. And he's like, that's really immature. Like my dad has always had constant battles with me about how emotional I will get into sports, like crying or yelling or breaking stuff over sports.
Oh my God, Eric, you must have looked like you had Tourette's.
Dude, I ended up running too for like an hour and a half. I was so mad. Like I was literally just gonna go out for like a 5-mile run, and I just freaking ran for like an hour or something. Like,
God. And
anyway, I know
unbelievable.
I just
no, that was, you know what though, dude? I've been there with you as a Spartan fan. I've had some heartbreaking moments that are just unexplainable. That's the problem, when they're just unexplainable. Dude, it's like, how could this happen? You almost have to go into just a denial and not read anything, not listen to anything, just be like, didn't happen.
I was at the state game because I have friends that have season tickets because they went there and everything. I was at the one where Charles Rogers had that one-legged catch, but then next play, next play, fucking, and I mean, I'm not a safe fan, so like you said, for me, I don't care, but it's the same in that same sense. You absolutely have empathy for it because it's
Yeah.
You've been through it yourself.
It's tough, man. It's funny
right,
how...
Beth? No.
What?
Wake up.
Excuse me.
Who do you think's taking
Goes
the
down
West
for a
and the
minute
East, Beth, in the Big Ten Conference?
No,
No, I'm just kidding.
it's funny that...
Spartans all the way.
Yeah, Beth. Yeah.
Wow, she knows who to suck up to, I guess.
I went.
She doesn't have to say
I went
go
to
blue.
state, Eric.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Hey, we can't all be perfect. We can't.
That's where my first degree is from.
Nice.
What are you trying to say? No, but.
No, it's funny how you saying you get so emotional after these games, and dude, I do it too. I know a ton of the listeners do, and it's funny to think like we're putting so much into these 18-year-olds. You know,
so dumb.
We're like putting
it's
all
just
of our
a game.
It's
It's just a game. You go
It
to
is.
college to get an education. You don't go to college.
That's what
to
my
play
dad always said.
games.
My dad always like, because I always said if I was smart, I would have. If I had a choice over Michigan or State, I'm going to Michigan, 100%. Well, it's not about the sports. I'm like, yeah, right.
Dude, he's unbelievable. This guy is unreal. What do
Which
we
one
got?
did you want to do first? You want to do who made it in or the other kind of interesting?
Yeah,
story?
tell us who made it in first.
It's funny because I told you, I thought this like, oh, wow, this is a good class.
Everybody has that moment when they look at Hall of Fame ballots and you go, I know those players. I remember them. I remember when they played, and I know them all, and therefore I feel invested in this Hall of Fame ballot. Those prior ones, you look at and you go, I kind of know that name. I kind of know who that was, but I don't remember them playing.
You know what's funny? And now that you say that, I didn't think about this the first time. This is why I'm glad, like, sometimes, like I said, I halt conversations because then stuff. You know what is funny? You're right. That's funny. And by that, I just realized now, that makes me realize that I'm old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now I'm old enough that these players are everybody, including the two coaches. I'm like, wow, I know all these people.
Yeah.
Which means they've been out of baseball long enough, which means I'm old enough.
Eric, you're older than you think.
I know, dude.
And you're older than I think a lot of the times. I look
know.
over at this dude like, oh, that kid. He's fucking 30.
I know,
dude.
This is a frightening situation we have on our hands,
Yeah,
to be
because
honest.
for how immature he is.
Oh, my
and he's
God.
actually 30 already.
I know, dude. I honestly
What
tell
has
people.
our youth come to?
Well, I always tell people that I'm kind of 30 going on 16. But it's, you know what? You're right. Well, I don't want to get too much in my life here,
No,
but of
hold on.
course it involves
Just
all of
stop
it.
for a second. Last time you showered.
Friday.
Last time you asked. Yeah. Last time you asked your mom for money.
I got money over the weekend because they went out of town.
Last time you asked your mom if you could do something. Could be anything. Oh, it was today. Tornado.
Yeah, it was
Can
today.
I keep driving or come home?
No, I don't actually.
Mom, what do I do?
I will say I don't have to technically ask her if I can do anything anymore, but by suggesting that I'm going to go to Jimmy Buffett, for example, means that I need money.
So, Mom, I'm going to be headed to Jimmy Buffett. Just kind of stands there with his hand up. What a dick. You're a dick, man.
Such an asshole.
You know what? Tell me about Jimmy Buffett. How'd that go? I saw you on Facebook.
Wait, was this on Saturday?
Yeah.
So that was why I gasped when he said he showered on Friday.
Well,
he showered on Friday, and then he went to Jimmy Buffett and spent
Here's
all
actually,
day
Jay-
in the sun and the heat and the drinking. He probably
Jay
just
knows
pissed
more.
on the side of the road and peed on his shoes and then like spilled beer on himself and
Absolutely.
met a hot girl and soiled something else.
Jay knows worse than you just let on, because this is what happened, Beth. I went to that bonfire where I bought my beer from Myers. No.
So we have to.
And I did not mean to drink that night because I knew I was going to Buffett before.
He had to save the shower.
Well, I found out that one of my friends all of a sudden is totally into 90s country, so she's 90s country on Pandora. So then I ended up getting drunk. I didn't mean to, and I got drunk. And then I was going to the concert with these people the next day. So I woke up in their house. I'm like,
You're just gross, Eric.
So
Buffett was good,
Buffett
though.
was awesome,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, I listened to her too, actually.
I saw that
Eric is
Facebook
famous.
post. Yeah, exactly. I saw the Facebook post. I see his
Oh,
arm
wow.
around some dude. I'm thinking, oh, well, that's just Eric with his arm around a dude. That's what he does. Or you know, I don't know the damn terminology. guy that wasn't your friend.
Yeah, no, that's the first time I had been used to getting recognized when I was interning on the Drew and Mike show. But it hasn't.
I've been used in my fame now.
But it hasn't happened in a long
I have
time.
an unforgettable face.
You know what? It's not the face, obviously. It's the voice. Apparently, I have a distinct voice. That's what I used to always get when people recognize me. It's the voice. Did I say it wrong? But anyway, no. But I ran into a fan. But anyway, it was awesome, man. Buffett. Like I know when you mentioned,
He's an old dude. He's not a hard rocker.
Right. It's not lyrics that are like they're gonna make you really think of and take stock of life or anything. But I went 2 years ago just on a whim because we were downtown. We just met me and buddy like, let's just try to buy tickets. We got some cheap tickets, and it was the funnest freaking show I've ever been to. So I'm like, when we came up again this year, actually the reason I was able to buy tickets is I had Tiger gift certificates from a few years ago, and I was able to buy my ticket through the straight.
So your mom didn't buy them.
My brother technically bought him, but he bought him 2 years ago. 2 years ago for a birthday present, but
okay.
But anyway, no, but it was a great concert, man. Blast.
So back to the Hall of Fame.
Anyway,
what do we got?
So Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, Frank Thomas are in on the player side, and coach side Tony La Russa and Joe Torre.
Everybody that we're very, very familiar with. You are old, Eric.
I know, my God. You know another way I can tell, and I'm not trying to bring Buffett back into it. But because I didn't mean to stay up on Friday, I ended up till 4 in the morning on Friday, which I didn't plan on. I planned on going to bed nice and early because I know I'm going to be partying on Saturday, and I didn't. But then I can't sleep in, even when I get really drunk. Like I'll go to bed at 4:30 and I'll still wake up at 7. Like I can't sleep in.
That's not good.
I know. So what happened was I woke up. I can't fall asleep. Then I'm excited for the concert, so I just stayed up. Like, whatever, Jimmy Buffett, I'll ride it through, And I don't know what that was, but guys, woo, going to Greektown, pick up the ladies. And, dude, I bought my first beer. I paid my cover, bought a beer, and after about a half an hour, I'm like, I'm falling asleep. I want to dance and I want to hit on girls, but I literally can't keep my eyes open.
I want to dance. Can you imagine?
You're old when you're tired and you can't even hit on girls.
Dude, I don't I'm not a dancer at clubs.
No.
But if I drink, I will absolutely get out there and just whoa.
Like a pterodactyl jumping around. I could just see it, man.
But yeah, anyway, but yes, it was funny. I did not think about the fact of the age until when you were reading me right then and you were telling me that I knew all these names, and it's like, holy crap, dude.
Now, isn't there something this year where they're grandfathering people in? Tell me about that.
Yeah, this is early. This is interesting because it affects, of course, majorly, and I don't know if it was done because of that. I'm not exactly sure the original reason behind it, but it affects all of our steroid players and whether they're going in or not. And it used to be that once you were eligible for 15 years on the initial ballot. And then after that, like I said, isn't there a Veterans Hall of Fame wing or something? But they're moving it to 10. And they're
just to get those guys out of there.
Maybe so it kind of, at least to force the answer sooner. Because think about it. Because now it's only going to allow 2 more years for instance, Bonds to be in on this.
Wow.
So by doing this, there would have been 5 more. There would have been 3 more years.
Just linger.
There would have been 5 more years under the original thing. Now we have 2. It would have been 7 more years if they hadn't done this of just, is he going to get in? Is he going to get in? And I don't know. It doesn't say, I don't know if it didn't say to me why they said originally, if they were going to plan this originally, but don't you have to think that's maybe part of it?
Yeah, that could be. They don't want it lingering, and they just want that era done with.
And there are a few people, I should say this too, though. There are a few people that are grandfathered in because notable names that weren't in yet, but they're not just going to cut them off. And it's Don Mattingly, which is in his 15th year, his 15th year is 2015. Alan Trammell is on 14, of course, the Tiger. And then Lee Smith. Those 3 are grandfathered, or 3 or 4 was that?
3.
3. Those 3 are grandfathered in. But everybody else now, 10 years instead of 15.
Interesting. And that's such a snob kind of driven deal. I don't know what to think of the Hall of Fame.
The baseball elite.
Yeah, it really, to me, that's the problem with baseball. That kind of turns me off.
That's why I like baseball.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God, I'm kind of a purist when it comes. Like I've told you before one time, I get it. I understand why there's more wild card teams. But I'd be fine if it was just 1-1 in American League Central again. I get it. That's obviously not going to happen. But I kind of like that. I'm a very kind of purist like that.
You do have your opinions, Eric.
What do you think about someone like Bonds going into the Hall of Fame? Since you're not in that line, do you think with the steroids he should be in or not?
Yeah, I don't. boy, that's all alleged.
Okay.
But it's certainly.
Come on, but
I know.
okay, you're right.
I mean, his head grew. His head grew like 4 sizes.
Well, not just that, but I mean, there's.
I
mean,
know.
Okay, yeah.
That's just the
You don't
most
have to go down
ridiculous
that
thing
line, yeah.
you point to. But if you're going to keep Pete Rose out, I think you have to keep these guys out.
That's how I believe. But.
So, whatever. I don't know.
I know
they'll figure it out.
Right. Whatever.
Well, let's take a quick break. Come back. We're gonna dip into some Comic-Con weirdness. Some shark stuff maybe.
Whoa.
Yeah, you know how sharks freak me out. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break. The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
Hey, bitches, we are back. Thanks for sticking with us. As we said at the outset, Mike had a family emergency that he had to attend to and blew out of here real quick, but gave us his go-ahead to grab the keys and do a show. So, yeah, we figured we'd run with it. I don't think we've put it in the ditch yet. I don't know.
Yet.
We still have a bit of time.
Well,
we'll
we
see.
have to post it and then see what people say.
Well, you're gonna have to wash the car out too, because Eric hasn't bathed as he's already told us, so the car might stink a little bit.
We'll see where it goes here. But yeah, we did want to get into a little bit of Comic-Con for sure. Comic-Con was going on last week and tied up over the weekend out in San Diego. I guess it's their big one. I know they have regional stuff and all that, and even in Detroit they've had them. I've never been to one, but
I never have either. But it's like San Diego, I know, Chicago, and New York, I think, are the three real big ones. And then every city has one.
And does it seem to you, maybe it's getting more publicity, but it seems to me it's becoming more of an important event for industry?
It's absolutely more mainstream than it probably is. That what you're trying to get at? Like, it's because of things like The Walking Dead got so big. So now, like, Walking Dead stuff, a lot of this stuff is not as like, it's totally not as much the nerdy guy in the basement just who's like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah,
more mainstream, as you say. More than 150,000 fans were expected to attend the sold-out event. And TV apparently was making a bigger splash than previous years, like you say. Stuff like Walking Dead was huge. Some other FX shows. Sharknado was mentioned. And I know that's quote-unquote a movie. Or was it a documentary? I don't know.
I still don't know what that is. I'm like totally in the dark about this. I don't even.
You know what? I'll get into a little bit more of that in a second. But some big things from Marvel Studios, I guess, talking a lot about Ant-Man. So if you're a comic book geek out there, you probably knew this was coming, but Ant-Man is coming out. The next Avengers installment is going to come out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, starring Megan Fox, is I know, seriously.
Still around.
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
Oh, yeah.
The Hobbit, another installment of The Hobbit. Do you guys follow like Lord of the Rings?
No, I read The Hobbit like probably most people did, and
well, unbelievably, Peter Jackson has extended that into now a third movie. It's incredible, right? I know they made how many billions?
License to print money. Why
it really is. It's so funny how they how Hollywood gets on these things that, hey, it worked, so we'll do it 10 more times. But some big news also had to do with Batman and Superman, and of course that's the DC side of things. But this Comic-Con was the 75th birthday of Batman. Can you believe Batman's been around that long? It's like Archie, right? I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about comics. Comics are an old thing.
Yeah. That's true. They're really beyond their time now, and they've expanded into movie and all that. And back in the day, comics were what kids did instead of watching cartoons and all that. So I guess it does make sense. But it's funny how Archie didn't really evolve, but yet Batman has. Archie, as we talked about last month or so, got killed. Saving his gay friend or something. It was some ridiculous plot, but. Archie is dead, Batman lives on, and Batman and Superman vs. Batman is going to be the big new film, I guess in maybe a couple summers. They're filming it right now, close by here, actually, in the Detroit area.
Is Amy Adams in it?
I don't know.
She must be filming something in the area, 'cause my girlfriend was this weekend and was eating right next door. She put, I saw it was a post on Facebook, like, oh my God, I'm eating dinner right next to Amy Adams.
Wow, okay.
She's got to be filming something in the area. I didn't know she is. Is
she's
she
Lois Lane.
Oh, okay.
Lois Lane in this, apparently.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you got Ben Affleck, and there's been Affleck sightings all over. Affleck. I guess he and his wife crashed a kid's birthday party in Southfield, and got a bunch of headlines. I know. It's like, can you believe it? Jennifer Garner, is it? Yeah, his wife. And then who's the guy who plays Superman? Know him if you see him, kind of thing. I don't remember his name, but
I don't know.
So that'll be a big one, and keep your eyes out around town. I'm sure you'll see them around. But the big thing at Comic-Con for all the comic geeks, I guess, was the fact that Wonder Woman was unveiled. Wonder Woman's going to be in this film, and her outfit, which is sort of Xena the Warrior Princess-esque, slash gladiator or something. I don't know. Kind of a hot look.
Who plays Wonder Woman? Do we know?
Oh man, I don't.
Be looking that up right now too.
Yeah, you'd know the name. But Timko will pull up a picture of one. Yeah, no, that's not. No.
I know the one you're talking about.
But yeah, it's a real sleek outfit.
Wonder Woman can be pretty hot.
Dark leather. Oh yeah, that's sort of the license to really get those comic nerds excited. I think, given how excited they were over Princess Leia and Return of the Jedi, I have to admit that was hot.
I've never heard of it. Gal Gadot?
Never heard of her?
No.
Okay.
Do you want to hear a hot Wonder Woman story?
Sure.
Mike's going to be really disappointed he's not here for this one. So when I was like 21 and I was living in Holland, Eric.
Oh, yeah?
And I was convinced like I'd be cool enough to go handle it. I'm a strong female. I can go with my boyfriend, a couple friends, and we'll go to the strip club. I did. So we go, and I don't even remember the name. Get there, I'm like, I can't go in. It's like, well, we came over here, just forced myself to go in. Whatever. It was really uncomfortable. I think it was like the only female in the crowd. Can do this? No. So I'm sitting there at the table, and they order some drinks, and I'm just trying to blend in with the crowd, and like, oh my god, people are coming on stage and like stripping, and girls are walking around with nothing on but just like thong underwear, and then they have like the cast change on stage, and the next girl comes out. Who is it? Wonder Woman. Now, when I was little, my sister loved Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman has been like a theme in my family. So she comes out, and she was like smoking hot. She had curves, she had tits, she was like hair, and I was just sat there like, oh my god, I can't believe like I came to the strip club and Wonder Woman. Hilarious. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I came.
No, you were digging it.
Awesome.
And so she finishes her little thing on stage, and then like after they do their strip or whatever, they're supposed to walk around the crowd and like do the give lap dances for $1, mingle with the customers. They were $1.
Holy crap.
So I'm like, just trying to blend in still. No, my friend, and he's like, she wants a lap dance, and he gives me $1. Like I'm like thinking like I see guys like I hear you're supposed to sit on your hands. Like I don't want to like I'm trying to sit on my hands thinking like she's gonna be afraid that I'm gonna do. And she was so funny. She comes over and they were all laughing, and she was like kind of chuckling. She like shook her titties in my face, and I'm just sitting there like with $1 in my hand, and she goes, and a little bit of this, and she turns around and she like shakes her booty in my face, and I'm just like, oh my god, and everybody's staring at us because I'm the only girl in the club aside from the strippers. And then she goes, and then you just take that and you put it right here, and she pulled her underwear over like the side of it, and then she like snapped my $1 away in the side of her G-string and like shimmied away, and I'm like, can we go home now?
Wow, Beth, does Mike know about that?
I think I've told him the story. I think I have.
Great
I don't know. He'll find out now.
So you'll never think of Wonder Woman the same, that's for sure.
Nope, and I'm never going to a strip club ever again.
Was it anything like that? Timko pulled up the picture.
Oh, no, not quite that dark. It was the more,
It was the more traditional with the stars on the ass. And,
little triangle bra.
Gotcha.
She was hot. Like, she was hot, though. Like, she actually had boobs and a body. She wasn't like
what's she
doing
doing $1 lap dances between like, Holland and Grand Rapids?
No boobies.
Seriously.
Stripper, I don't know. She was waiting for me. I was destined to go to that strip club the only time in my life that night just to see her.
Nice.
Wait, you said you were dressed as Wonder Woman at the strip club, right?
No.
Oh, did I hear that?
No.
Well, one of the fun things about Comic-Con, though, at least the thing that I notice most is just the crazy ass outfits, and this year's no exception. And the chicks just go nuts. It's almost become like a Halloween sort of license to just go nuts, because a lot of these aren't even recognizable superheroes anymore. It's just kind of like skank ass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you nailed it. Just like Halloween, just a license to kind of dress slutty, but like, oh, I'm at Comic-Con.
Right, I'm Wonder Woman or whatever. Toggle through a couple of these, Timko. Lady Gaga. Like, okay.
Yeah,
Not a comic.
Right.
character.
No, exactly.
Gaga be at Comic-Con.
That's Gaga, right?
Absolute. To me, that looks like
wannabe.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's
Right,
dressed
she's
up as,
supposed
yeah.
to be,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah,
We've got some little cat chick or something. Random slutty cat. Okay, we've got a chick with some sort of python wrapped around her.
Oh God, is that what that girl? Oh. I hate snakes.
It's stuffed.
I
It's
don't
sort of
care.
It's fake.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
we've got some kind of Mardi Gras looking dancer
Like,
chick.
Yeah, like what is that?
Phoenix or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
Where's the one with the labia hanging out?
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming. There's your Wonder Woman.
Is that more Wonder Woman, what
A
you
little
saw?
bit, yeah, a little bit more like that, yeah.
A little bit more like that. Okay.
And we've got sort of a Conan warrior-esque thing.
That looks like a
Guar.
It looks like a Walmart outfit. She's probably spent about $10 on.
Yeah,
the
really.
outfit, you know?
Yep. She's got like the suspenders going. Oh, that's just stupid.
Yeah. So.
But you can do it. There you go. And now you've got chick walking
was-
around with the labe hanging out. So
Pretty weird.
you can do that though. See, you can wear that. It's basically
Comic-Con. I can do whatever.
a ribbon over each nipple and then some really high-strung bikini thing.
Go to Comic-Con.
And it looks like all these pictures. This is like in some concourse area outside the actual event.
Yeah, you're picturing like Kobo Arena or
Yeah, so
something.
they're trying to rope people in, you know, like that's
Right.
that's gonna make me run if I saw that, to be honest with you.
Unbelievable. We'll have to send Eric to one of these sometime, you
I
know,
would
with a
love it.
camera.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, man. Next local one.
We actually had talked about that one time, and I don't remember why it fell apart. I think it fell apart after. I don't know why. But
You'd fit right in, dude.
Yeah.
But one of the things that came up there was Sharknado. And Beth, you don't know what Sharknado is.
No.
Sharknado is probably the worst piece of film ever made. Am I wrong?
I actually
Holy
I didn't see it. I know all
Dude.
about it, but I did not watch it.
It's freaking unbelievable.
Is it a kid's film?
No, it's just the most campy, stupid, I guess, horror film they'd call it.
Okay.
I think it came out like on FX. It was a TV movie,
Yeah.
but it got all kinds of pub for just being stupid. Ian Ziering, the guy from 90210, was in it. Damn, the chick. I can't think of her name. Timko, can you pull up some cast members? You'll know.
Sci-fi
I think
channel.
Vivica Fox was in it. But the girl, huge partier, you'll recognize her. But anyway,
Okay.
it's just a shit movie. Shit movie. Awful effects. Essentially, a tornado happens and it pulls up sharks out of the ocean and it starts spewing sharks like all over land. And of course, the sharks are angry, and so when they hit people, they bite them and eat them and shit. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable.
Tara Reid, by the way.
Tara
Oh.
Reid, right? That's the skank I
Oh.
couldn't think of.
Yeah.
But there, of course, it was so successful because it was so freaking stupid that they're making a 2. And a listener sent this in, and I saw this as well. It's a deal where somehow Jared from Subway is involved. I mean,
kidding me?
fucking random is this? Subway spokesman Jared Fogle will appear in Sharknado 2, and then there's like a movie poster with Jared. I mean, please, can we just not watch this one?
When did this come out?
A year and a half, 2 years probably.
Really?
2013.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was on
2015.
Sci-Fi.
Okay, Sci-Fi.
How did
Yeah.
I miss this?
Oh my god, it's just so, it's almost like Evil Dead sort of deal where you watch it and you're like,
Oh,
okay,
that guy.
you know what, Evil Dead, that I just offended Evil Dead because this is awful. Sharknado. So we'll look forward to that. But on the subject of sharks, dude, I came across a story where there purported to be a video of
Yes.
No.
Because-
Did you hear? There was that fish with teeth. I don't know.
it turns out that this is a hoax, as we've been a lot of stupid ass stories out there, but this was a hoax. It was being promoted, I think, by Shark Week people. Shark Week has taken on this weird thing. Last year or the year before, they did that Megalodon promotion. Do you remember that?
No.
They were acting like they did a documentary one night on Megalodon, and they were like, this is a prehistoric shark that absolutely has to be out there because we've seen jaw marks on whales and things that could only match this, and they went
yeah.
into all these scientists say this, and they do it totally documentary style. It's a hoax. There's nothing to it.
Like
but yet
a Blair Witch Project for
yeah,
creatures.
very much like that. So you watch it, you're scared shitless, like holy cow, there's this thing the size of 4 tanks out there just gobbling shit up, and then oh no, not true. Just like the Lake Erie shark.
Yeah. So what is that story then? Is it like, did they actually find one, or is it just like an urban myth?
No, they acted. They had like 2 kids pulling up a line, going, "Holy shit, what is that? What is that?" And then they act like it's a shark or something.
Yeah.
Here's the video. Timco's got it. It's real quick.
I don't know. I have seen some really crazy things come up from the bottom of the sea.
Nice cast. Paul.
Just playing along. Oh, just fishing.
There's Jay.
Of course, his name's Jay. Everybody's named Jay.
Nice. Well, we got one, boys. Whoa!
So they just tease it like it comes out of the water, and looks like a shark for a second, dips back down, and it's just realistic enough looking, like quick enough where you might think it's real. But it's not. But dude, the idea of a shark in freshwater, oh my god, right? They have, though, and this is serious, bull sharks can live in some fresh water. They've spotted them as far north up the Mississippi as Illinois.
Really?
Yes, the Mississippi River. That river, that one, they've swam up there.
Yeah. Have you gone swimming in the ocean or the sea or anywhere where there is sharks?
Yeah. I have. I've actually I went to Hawaii when I was a kid and experienced that whole thing, and barracuda and all. It's just I've seen it, and I'm okay if I can see them, like snorkeling, or if I were to go scuba. But it's the idea of being in water, like up to my waist, and not knowing what's under there. I guess it's a control thing or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that. When I was up north this weekend, and I was sloshing around in the surf, like just at the edge of the water, and things were coming in, and it was a little murky and knocking my feet, and I was like, ah!
Yeah.
But I'm not one, like, I have my scuba diving license. Like, I love swimming. I'm not really afraid of most things.
Dude, look at
like
jellyfish. Ugh. Jellyfish, though, too.
But yeah, if you can't see it, if you don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I can see that.
Oh, and then being eaten by something. It would be the worst. Just chunks taken out of your body, and it's eating that. Again, freaks me out.
It's like the guy that got in the wood chipper. You gotta hope it'd be like head first.
Oh,
you hope it wouldn't
dude.
be like bottom and.
Poor Hernan.
I can't really remember his name.
We never saw anything indicating that was a hoax. I was like 50% sure that was a hoax.
I have looked several times. It's in the Astrom file or whatever.
Astronom?
Astronom file. But I have done several searches since then. Like just kind of saying, looking, and not one new thing has come up about it.
Well, and we had a lot of listeners chime in via email saying, hell yeah, dude, that could totally happen. Those things, those big diesel power fuckers will take a tree in, it'd take a human in, no problem.
Freak accident. Yeah.
So poor Hernan. But speaking of freak accidents, one was, I guess, narrowly averted at Cedar Point over the weekend. Amusement park ride that swings riders as high as 125 feet has been closed indefinitely after a cable snapped, injuring 2 visitors. It's the Skyhawk. Anyone familiar with the Skyhawk? It's sort of you sit next to row, and then this thing flings you backward then forward. You're kind of on a fulcrum, and one of them's coming at you, like kind of a saw like action. I've ridden it before, and it's just one of those things where you're like, it just makes you sick. I mean, it's not a thrill. But dude, I'm telling you, and I think I mentioned this before about Cedar Point, I'm at the age now where I look at this stuff and I go, bolts fall out. People make mistakes. Shit happens.
Dude, I went to Cedar Point last year, and I love roller coasters. Went last year, and I went on a few, but like the first one I went on the day, I was going up the hill. I was never more scared in my life. And the rest of the day, like I went on a few, but I swear to God, like I stopped going. Like I didn't go on them all. I didn't go on the high ones or whatever. And I was never afraid. I used to front row every time.
It's like your innocence is lost. You know what can happen. You've seen these stories. Yeah.
That's what happens when you get old.
Yep.
I haven't gone to Cedar Point since like my early 20s, and after that point, like it scares me for the exact same reason that you said. Bolts could fall out. Someone was tired, they forgot, or like the pop-up fairs that come around, like
Oh,
St.
dude,
Fair.
that's like all Eric's
Oh
running
my
those.
God, never.
No way. My kids
of
actually,
carnies.
yeah, my kids went to one of those the other day without me knowing, and they came home and told me about it. I'm like, Gab, I don't know about. I mean, this. These guys pick up and put it on a trailer and move it to the next town over.
Absolutely.
It's just,
that is the one thing. With Cedar Point, in reality, the roller coaster is like the Millennium Force. It doesn't even really go upside down. Like in reality, you'd probably be fine. But yeah, and it's a stable thing. But
right.
The carnies, oh my God,
dude.
no. Screw that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Cedar Point, you remember when LeBron James, a couple weeks ago now, was on the cusp of deciding, do I come back to Cleveland? Do I stay in Miami? What do I do? And Cedar Point jumped out and said, hey, if LeBron comes, we're going to rename a coaster the King James.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I didn't even know about
Sort of
this.
like, ooh, to entice. I thought, too, what if LeBron doesn't want this? It's sort of name and likeness.
Oh, I bet he does.
But think about it. They will have to pay him.
Yeah.
If they do this. They'll have to enter a contract because it's his name and likeness.
That's a good point.
And they're definitely looking at that. How much this deal? They sort of just on a Twitter whim threw out there thinking it would be clever.
Yeah.
And now they've kind of gotten themselves into this issue. Probably their marketers are going, oh, fuck, a whole new file on my desk now that wasn't there, and now I have to deal with this.
Do they have any idea if they how far along are they? Do they have any idea of which one it would be, or they just to the sense that they're talking?
Yeah, there's speculation that the mean streak might fit. Just to change the mean streak to the King James. We all know that one. That's the big wooden one, kind of at the back of the park.
I haven't ridden that one in years, even when I was riding them, just because it's so bumpy.
Pretty rough. Yeah, pretty rough.
Yeah.
The Wicked Twister was another one that people were speculating, and also the Mantis.
Okay.
I don't know if you can picture those, but
yeah.
It wouldn't be physically a big deal to just change the name, change some colors and things like that, but you are using the guy's name now to promote your products. So.
Well, if they just use King. Oh, okay, forgive me. Is King James like his official?
He probably has
nickname?
that trademarked. He probably does.
Okay, because James, and that's his name is LeBron James, and they don't have to technically.
Yeah, but they're not trying to be they're looking at it as a marketing opportunity, and not trying to weasel the guy. I agree with you.
From Ohio?
He is.
Okay.
He's from, I think, a Cleveland suburb, so it's a big deal for him to come back home.
Answers all of my questions. I know nothing about any sports.
You know who he is, right?
Basketball.
Yeah, one of the best.
I swear to God, though, I wouldn't even want it. I wouldn't care how big I get. I just would feel weird about that.
Well, it's
me
just
personally.
Yeah, it's just a weird kind of marriage. Like, how do I mean? They mentioned in this article the Intimidator, which is down in Charlotte, at Carowinds Park. And that's named after the deceased Dale Earnhardt.
Really?
But that was built with him in mind. It was kind of like themed after him, and I'm sure the family was involved, and I'm sure all the and all that.
Right.
Whereas they're just suggesting, we turn in one of our current coasters into the King James. So we'll see how that goes.
Put that in the astronomy file.
Yeah, we'll have to.
You know what? Worth it.
We will certainly hear about that, because Cedar Point, is one of those deals that everybody kind of it's on our minds at some point during the summer.
I mean, Michigan, that's a big thing around here to go to Cedar Point.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up a little bit, but before we do, why don't we do a few Ask Erics? And since we have Beth here, it's always interesting to do these when we have Beth here, because we have to take advantage of our estrogen. We have to take advantage of just the and Beth. So let's see what we have.
All right. I think there was a good one, but I'm going to pose the short one first. Let's see what Eric said. Dear Eric, I recently started a summer job in the fitting room of a clothing store. Customers often ask me what I think about their outfits, and the most common question is, does this make me look fat? How do I answer if the outfit does make the woman look fat? These women want honesty, but how do I avoid sounding rude?
I'm just gonna tell them what they want to hear and just get out of there. I'm making $7.50 an hour. I'm not here to be your I mean, this just goes back to any minimum wage job I've ever worked. When I worked at Meyer, people are gonna like be mad about this, but when they would ask like, "Oh, you don't have macaroni and cheese? Is there any in the back?" I'd walk back there, I'd sit for 2 minutes, and walk back and say, "Nope, couldn't find any. Sorry, too bad."
What'd
you do? And with this, just tell them what they want to hear. Why do you're just there to make money and sell the product, get your 8 hours, and go home.
What if it's your wife and not a customer?
That's a little different, I guess. I mean,
what if your wife comes home and she's like, "Honey, don't these pants look great? The lady at the store said I look really thin and beautiful."
They look great. Whatever. I don't want to get in a fight.
I have what doctors call.
I don't know. You know what? I know I've not had a lot of relationships in my life, and I'm not even close to marriage in any capacity.
It's fantasy land here. Let's just.
But I'm saying, I know from what I know, there's no chance I'm telling my wife, "Oh, the lady at the store said it looks great." Yep, looks good. Whatever.
Beth, is that the right answer?
I kind of agree.
Okay, so you don't want honesty when you ask that question?
Yes, I do.
I can actually see you being someone who doesn't play that game.
I don't usually ask, but I have lately asked the salespeople. But I also had like a part-time job at the Gap for a couple years. Because I was like,
Right, you're just there to make your minimum wage and get out of it.
But then they have all of these like incentives if you're a salesperson. Like they started this thing where you have your little card and it's like, "Today, Beth, you're gonna sell 5 pairs of jeans and 4 pairs of slacks and 3 shirts and at least 2 accessory items." I don't think so.
It's so ridiculous. Minimum wage jobs unless they're gonna really give you an incentive. Jobs I worked at really like try to tell you sell like at restaurants. We really want to sell this new app,
right?
Dude, unless it's going to be like we're going to have a contest of who sells the most, I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm not going to sit there and push this on people.
Yeah, I think that's the disconnect between management and the front line. Sometimes they have these grand visions, and it's like, no, fundamentally, they won't do it unless there's an incentive, which I totally get.
Right.
One that I thought was great, so I can't find it.
Keep looking. Let me look at some emails real quick. We've got, let's see, James chimes in. He says, "I think it was number 134 that you guys were talking about gay couples that dress and look the same, theme dressers." Yes, we were talking about Saugatuck and my visit to Saugatuck. And the fact that I had seen probably 4 couples, guy couples, that dressed and looked similar. They looked almost like brothers. It was really weird. They had definitely shopped and picked the same sort of style shoes and all. It was weird. He has a theory, though. James does. He writes in with it. He says, "I have a theory that these guys are actually in love with themselves. So they date a person that reminds them of themselves. I think the same thing about hipsters with their androgynous hair, glasses, and clothing. The boys look like girls, the girls look like boys, and the couples look like each other. You really hear it if you accidentally try talking to them."
You know what's funny is, like most things in life, Seinfeld or Simpsons can come in. And Seinfeld, he talks about gay couples one time. I forgot about this. And he asked her, like, "Do you think when a gay guy is looking for another boyfriend, he looks for someone in the same size because that instantly doubles his wardrobe?"
It's true, man.
That was what I was going to say. Are they just sharing clothes?
Yeah, that's definitely a thought there. But it wasn't necessarily the size of them, but it was just the same style. It was strange, man. I don't know if that's the new thing right now or if I'm just been out of it, but out of the gay scene, I guess. I've been out of it too long.
Just gonna
got to dip back into that. Kevin writes in, Eric IQ test is the Ray line. He says, "Hi guys, I'm curious to know what Eric's IQ is."
Okay, I think
he says I already know that it's low. What I want to know is just how low it really is. My initial guess is that his IQ is hovering right around 65.
Oh, come on.
Give or take the standard deviation.
You know, I have a 2-year degree. I've been to college and stuff. Like,
right.
I've never done it. Maybe we should do that. I wonder, could we do that? Could we find an IQ test and have me?
The thing, and we talked about this with the Sterling case, I think, is it's actually a pretty involved test.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that my mother-in-law, she was going for some therapy degree or something, and her final, she had to administer these tests.
Yeah.
And so she did a battery test. She did me a battery test. And I think the IQ was included in that. And I remember it was pretty extensive.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's not. I don't think it's just you sit down.
No, it takes a while. I remember sitting there for a period of hours. But I also remember her saying, "Gabrielle scored higher." Pissed me off. And I remember thinking in my head, yeah, well, I'm going to go home and bang Gabrielle.
Oh!
Yeah.
No, dude, I would take one. But screw you, dude. I'm not like... I went to college. I have 2 freaking degrees, 2 associate degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, and isn't retarded 80? Isn't 80
Yeah,
like the threshold
I think
for
so.
a
I can
retard?
look for it. I don't know. But
No, you'll never find it. You'll never find it.
What do you say?
Yeah. So anyway, to finish out Kevin's email, he says, so I was wondering if you could make Eric take a legitimate IQ test, which I will completely pay for.
If he wants to pay for it, I will 100%.
He said, as long as the cost is not completely unreasonable.
I will 100% do it.
That would be kick-ass.
For it.
Yeah, he's got some time during the day.
I'd be interested in myself to know, because I know how I come across, but I've always tend to think that in reality I do think I'm smarter than.
Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious if he's like Mensa?
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric. Holy shit.
Like a 150.
That'd be the best. That'd be the best.
But aren't like geniuses and most really smart people like a little bit socially
A little
awkward?
Sometimes I think that. Yeah, I think
What are you trying to say?
Einstein couldn't tie his shoes.
No.
No, yeah, that's
My shoes are always untied. I know how to tie them, but they're always untied.
Yeah. No,
I will do it. I will do it 100%. If you want to find out how to do that, I'm in.
I will follow up with Kevin. Kevin, put your money where your mouth is, baby.
Uh-huh.
And then let's see, the last one. Oh no, we've got a couple here. Adam writes in. He says, just to go off of your nothing gets lost in the mail belief. I think it was me who said that, just kind of offhandedly.
What did you say?
A couple shows ago, like we were talking about something getting lost, somebody making the excuse it got lost in the mail, and I was like, nothing fucking gets lost in the mail. Adam's calling me out on this. He says, I have a friend who works at the post office sorting mail. He would always tell us stories about how the mail sorting machine gets jammed up sometimes, and the end product would be torn up and unidentifiable papers that the USPS would, quote, destroy. It's a very low percentage, but stuff definitely gets lost in the mail. And you know what? I've seen that. They get chewed up. I've received shit that's chewed to fuck. I mean, I've actually received it in a different envelope, and it's
With
like
a
just
note
a piece. Yeah, it's just a piece of the correspondence. So I definitely see that. I think what I was thinking of, though, was like in my practice as a lawyer, I've had opponents all the time. Oh, it must have got lost in the mail. I sent it. And you're just like, really, dude? I mean, we're talking about like 0.00001% of shit getting lost in the mail. And it just happened that 2 of your letters got lost. And it's just, so I get it, Adam. I get it. Stuff does get lost in the mail. Last one, and then we'll do one more Ask Eric and close it out. Terry writes in, and this is about our squatter deal. We talked about a couple squatters. The most recent one was that asshole in the condo.
Oh yeah. The Airbnb one.
Yes, Airbnb. You'd heard of Airbnb? Okay.
I've had friends that have used it. And
really?
Haven't had a problem, but they're usually like going on a weekend or week-long vacation somewhere.
Yeah, that's what it's normally for. People like you just don't want to spend outrageous hotel prices necessarily. You can get a house.
Yeah. So they've used it without incident.
Yes.
That's good to know. Yeah, there's that issue, and then there's that bitch squatter in California, the nanny. Oh, infuriating.
Ben Franklin.
Yes, Ben. You were here when we originally talked about her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last show you were on. But Terry writes in, my blood is boiling. I'm listening to the Detroit Cast episode 142, and that's the squatter apartment asshole story. I'm having flashbacks to this past winter when I had to evict a renter. It was such a pain in the ass. It cost me money even though I was in the right, and I will never recover the lost rent. Terry talks about moving and then having this home behind that they were renting out as she took a new job elsewhere. But the last one, though, was a scammer from the get-go. She says she came up with all sorts of repairs that she had to do. She didn't pay rent. Even after my attorney contacted her, she had felt she should just stay in the house while not paying rent. Talks about flying back from Portland, appearing in court. I mean, it's just unbelievable that you got to do this shit. But eventually she got her evicted, got a judgment, but what's that worth, right?
Right.
You have this absolute piece of shit bottom feeder. It's not worth the paper it's printed on, the judgment.
Right.
You can spend another 10 grand chasing her down to collect your 5 grand.
Yeah.
It's just such.
Or whatever was having ulcers from the bad. He was going to sue her because.
Shameless. I mean, bottom line, shameless people muck up the system. And
it's too bad. You're right.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like those kind of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Terry says, P.S. Eric, eat a bag of dicks. With that, there's the email. Let's finish one more Ask Eric, and we'll close it out.
Dear Eric, I am an inmate incarcerated for financial crimes. I have been down for 3 years this time. I'm expected to be released in a few months. During this time, a distant cousin and I have become my fourth or fifth cousin. Writes often. We speak on the phone a few times a week. She lives on the West Coast. Over the last year, our relationship has become romantic. Started speaking of us being married. State. While I care very much for her and would even enjoy spending my life over the fact that we are cousins. Is there anything wrong with us being romantically involved in having a sexual relationship? I'm creeped out about the thought of intermarriage. The worst part is this would actually be a healthy person for me to associate.
I love the idea that whether it's a cousin or not, another guy in prison is getting ass, and I'm not. Like,
oh man,
I get it. I'm kind of antisocial, but it's like, my God, like I go to concerts, I'm out there. It's not like I'm a hermit crab, and this guy's in prison.
Maybe we just need to get you arrested.
Right. That's what I said the
Let's
last.
get Eric arrested.
Start taking some risks.
I
You know,
said
doing
that-
some shit that, and if you get caught, you get caught. Oh well.
Right. I said that the last episode. I need to go to jail, and I need to get in the game, and then I'll be.
Dude, you will not get in a gang. You would be tossed around a gang. You would not be allowed in a gang. Okay.
But for this question, this is a very classic that we would need to see a picture. You know what I mean? Like I would need to see if this cousin's hot. If it's me looking, I know I'm not going to get better. Maybe.
Spent 3 years in jail. I need to get something somewhere somehow.
Right.
Give it to me, baby.
If she's hot, man, I'm going for it. Why not? Fourth cousin.
Big
Fourth
E.
cousin.
Big E.
Because fourth cousin, am I wrong? But a fourth cousin at that point could not, maybe would not even be blood, right? There's a chance that
Throwing the chromosomes aside and just moving forward. He doesn't care.
Well, I'm just. Am I wrong though?
I don't-
Or am I
dude,
right about that?
I'm not a
could
doctor.
could a fourth cousin and any chance would they have to still be somewhat blood?
I
Or
am not a geneticist.
Oh, God.
If you want my answer,
it's no.
disgusting and disgusting. You're in jail and you're related. End of story.
Fourth
Really?
cousin.
Yeah.
Easy as that.
Fourth cousin.
Gross.
But you don't understand how pent up Eric is.
Yeah, I've been
How
in jail
desperate.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I got coming out. I mean, honestly,
He's pulling his pants down in front of you here.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I'm telling you right now, for me, this would all come down to looks.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm.
Well, I don't have a picture.
I know. Well, you know, we need to
But-
somehow talk to these dear Abbeys or
Well,
I mean,
here's her response,
Oh,
which
yeah, this would
I
be-
was a little bit disturbed by, but whatever. Dear Unsigned, there are some women who are attracted to incarcerated men, and I think in rare cases these relationships can work out. But to me it seems basically foolhardy, if not pathological, to pursue a romance in a future with a repeat offender. But hey, it's her and your life. If you're worried about distant cousins marrying, think of the English royal family. They've been doing this for generations.
Exactly.
Genetically speaking, you two have nothing to worry about, though a genetic testing before having children would be a good idea.
See,
Mm.
man, the heart wants what it wants. You know what I mean? Love comes in
The heart
Love-
wants what it wants.
Yeah.
the
Well,
hard.
What did I say? The hard?
No, I said the hard. You said
Oh.
the heart.
No, you know what I mean though. What love is love, man.
Love is
whatever.
blind.
Yeah,
Love
that's
is
what I was
blind.
looking. That was
Yeah.
actually what I was looking for. I said the heart wants what it wants. I meant to say love is blind.
Hey, on
Sure.
that piece of advice by Big E, let's close it down. Let's park this car. I think we avoided the ditch. Let's put the Ferrari back in the garage. But before we do, want to remind you, listeners, help us out if you can with the registration process. You guys have been great so far, and we have a ton of people. Go to our if you're so willing, if you can share us over Facebook, like us on Facebook. That's huge. Donate if you find it in your heart. That's all useful. We've got merchandise up at our website that you can check out. But most importantly, join us for another show. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Detroit Cast. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.
Listen, sugar, watch you grow. You know not what